You drive into Tarpon Springs expecting to find just another small town on the Gulf Coast. And the first thing that hits your eye when you step out is Perseus slaying Medusa.
Founding Sunday morning anchor Charles Kuralt left us with plenty of memories like that of his time on the road. He passed away 18 years ago on the 4th of July. His wanderings, however, continue to inspire, as in the case of Travels with Lou.
My name is Lou Lambert Schell, and I live in Chatham, Alabama.
Lou Schell's life in Chatham, Alabama was pretty busy and full. She played the piano in her church, taught school, enjoyed her children and her grandchildren. She never really had the urge to wander too far from home until
I read Charles Kuralt's book. I gave it to my husband as a Christmas present.
the book was about Charles Kuralt's favorite American places.
We're off again to meet a few people on the back roads of America.
Many of which he'd visited while on the road for CBS News.
And we read the book, thought how wonderful to do something like that when he retired.
When her husband of 52 years died, Schell thought that her dream of going on the road had died with him. But at age 77, she realized it had not.
I asked my 4 children to come to lunch and told them that I would be spending their inheritance. And their reply was, "Mom, go for it."
She decided to spend a month in each of Kuralt's favorite spots, rearranging his itinerary so that she and her sister Janie might drive from place to place. On the 1st of January, 2011, they set out.
My driveway was filled with neighbors and friends and family, and I always say a few doubters. And I get in my car and pull out of my driveway with a police escort.
First stop, New Orleans, Louisiana.
The scenery, so different. And of course, you can always eat your way through.
Then,
Key West in February, what could be more perfect? We got key lime pie with meringue 4 inches tall.
Charleston, South Carolina.
I got in a boat and rode through a former rice field and shot pictures of alligators.
And Blowing Rock, North Carolina, where her piano playing skills made her feel right at home.
We arrived there April 1st and it was snowing. And I played the piano for a church there on Easter Sunday.
New York City, the Big Apple, was their next destination.
We rented, I suppose you'd call it a loft in a brownstone in the Bedford-Stuyvesant area of Brooklyn.
As they had everywhere they went, Lou and Janie made good friends. Roy and David were their Bed-Stuy neighbors.
They would sit out on their steps in the afternoon and we visited with them, and I felt like became very good friends with them.
From New York, they headed north to Woodstock, Vermont, and Boothbay Harbor, Maine, where sadly Janie was taken ill and had to go home. Undaunted, Lou set her sights and her GPS for Ely, Minnesota.
I figured it was like 1,700, almost 1,800 miles. When I saw the Ely sign, I said, "Thank you, Lord," because I was there perfectly safe and sound.
Safe and sound, she drove on to Twin Bridges, Montana, and then by ferry to Ketchikan, Alaska. Last stop, Taos, New Mexico.
I always have difficulty saying Taos, And everybody told me, think house. So I automatically think house before I say house.
13,000 miles and nearly a year after her journey began, Schell arrived back in Chatham.
The same people that lined the driveway the day I left were in my driveway the day that I returned home.
We've got the little book display over if you want to.
With so many stories to tell, Lou decided to write a book. She'd never done that before either.
I said before I left, I know you don't put extra verses in the Bible, but I added an extra verse. The Lord protects old ladies and crazies. And I just fit into both of those categories.
We like to think Charles Kuralt would have been pleased to meet Schell there in Chatham, Alabama. And even more pleased that she set out to discover for herself the America he loved.
There are just wonderful, talented, gracious people everywhere, and I met them. And I would do it again tomorrow.